broadcast here on a Monday with Star Goddess week of July 1st, 2019.
That's right.
Good morning, AJ.
Good morning, and good morning, Janet. How you
Good
doing
morning.
today?
I'm happy to be here.
All
Happy.
What's the week going to look like?
It's a big week.
Birthday week.
Yeah.
Everybody's pumped up.
It is a big week because we have an eclipse tomorrow. We have a solar eclipse tomorrow, which thank God you can't see in the United States because they always cause trouble wherever they land. Not so hot for South America, I'm afraid, but okay for the United States.
Oh, boy.
But this eclipse is in the sign of Cancer, which interestingly is the United States' sign to boot.
Okay.
And the eclipse cycle is an 18.9-year cycle, so people can look back in their own lives, 18 to 19 years, and see similar things happening now that were going on then.
So I was talking with the radio show earlier when we were talking about this. I was having a hard time going what was happening 18 years ago.
Right.
Relate with this. Then I started thinking, divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something I recently just
Yeah.
went through.
Right.
History.
Just recently.
Uh-huh.
And music.
Yeah.
I started getting this passion for music again, going out and getting some guys together, and which happens to be really kind of what's going on right now. Which is kind of crazy. 18 years ago.
See, you can predict your own future. You hardly even need me
So,
for that. But no, really, and that's the important thing is to realize that our cycles repeat themselves and you have the free will choice to choose how you're going to direct that energy, and knowing what you did last time that didn't maybe give you the best result, you don't want to duplicate that. You want to
Right.
do something a little bit different.
that was dress rehearsal back then.
Exactly, and you get to do it again. I kind of like do-overs. I'm a big fan of them for that. And so for each, and the people that will have, again, because the eclipse cycle, eclipses always occur every 6 months. There's two. There's always a solar eclipse, which is the new moon, and then a lunar eclipse, which is the full moon. And the solar eclipse is to where you're going to consciously project your energy, rather than feeling. Emotions and feelings we'll talk about at the next eclipse. But this one is the conscious, here's what I need to do. And the people that are impacted the most are the people born the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of the month. And that's for all 12 signs.
Okay.
The people that do the very best with this energy are the Tauruses, yay, the Virgos, the Scorpios, the Pisces. They do the very best with this energy. The people that have the biggest challenge with this energy are the April-born Aries, the July-born Cancers, the October-born Libras, and then the January-born Capricorns. They have the most difficulty with this energy. And the other signs kind of depends on how they live their lives. So I thought I would tell people where they can expect this energy to manifest. So
Wow.
for Cancers, the sign that we're in, this is all about them. This is about them asserting their rights, them asserting their individuality, them saying that my wants, my needs are the most important, and we don't really care about partners' needs or anybody else's needs. It's a very selfish time for Cancers, and they're one of the least selfish signs of the zodiac, so it's good for them to finally put their wants and needs at the head of the list. And you can even see that in our politics with our president saying, no, we're going to put America first, and we don't really care to support other people, and we're not going to protect your foreign oil, we're going to protect our own. It's our own interest that we're trying to promote because we're 4th of July Cancers. For Leos, this is a good month for Leos just to sit back and be kind of quiet.
Right.
This is the end of Leo's solar year. There are things going on. Leos have to be really careful not to get overcommitted to things.
This year has been so busy. I need to take a rest.
Just a little bit of a break, a little bit of a step back.
I'll be quiet.
Well, it's the type of thing where you will find, Leos everywhere will find, that anything is easier to get into than it is to get out of. So they want to be careful to what they commit to because they're committing to something that's going to go for a long time. This is not a short-term commitment. This is going to be a long-term thing. So they want to be careful what they get into. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. For Virgos, this energy is in the 11th house of hopes, wishes, goals, and objectives, and they get to achieve a long-standing hope, but it's going to be through their well-placed female friends and colleagues are going to help the Virgo out more than their
They
male
look for
friends and
females
colleagues are.
around them to do
Yeah.
it, or- yeah.
Yeah. So for them, and it's really literally reaching for the brass ring because it's going to come into view over the next 6 months or so for the
See
Virgo. Which,
opportunities, grab them.
yeah, and when your friends say, hey, we think you ought to do this, you ought to go, sure, and I'll be happy to do that if you'll help me get to that objective. So nothing personal, but AJ, how you doing? My female friends are going to help me out here. For Libras, this energy is in the 10th house of career and public standing. And the biggest challenge for Libra is to realize that this energy is going to impact them. It's likely to impact them negatively. And they can't pick sides until they see where the chips are going to fall out because it's a professional thing. And I'm not sure if it's your career that's is in risk or is it your boss's career. Because it's a professional circumstance. I'm not quite, and Libras are big fans of they don't let go of a branch until they have another branch firmly in their grasp. And in this particular case, they should wait and see what shakes out before they commit to any kind of professional decision.
For all the dust to settle.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Wait for the dust to settle. Scorpios, not so much. They have a great time with this energy. This is very favorable energy for Scorpio. Legal matters, educational matters, important matters at a distance all go very favorably for the Scorpion. And the Scorpio's big objective here is to make money. That's their really big objective. And the things that they put into motion, that they started to put into motion in January, can come to be and end up making more money for them, which is the really important thing. That's really what they want.
Scorpions generally good with money? Is that how that
No,
works, or
they aren't.
Oh,
Scorpions spend it as soon as they get it, as a rule. So for them, it's a better opportunity financially through the fruits of their labor.
Gotcha. Okay.
For Sagittarians, you ask inquisitively because you want to listen not just to your sun sign, but to your rising sign. So you being a Sag rising, this would apply to you
Okay.
as well. For them, this energy is in the 8th house of other people's resources flowing their way. The Sagittarian has begun new starts over the last 4 or 5 months or so, and these new starts are about to bring more money to them. And so it's a matter of, it's not where your job pays you more money. It's not like you get a raise in your salary, but you benefit from other people's resources flowing your way. So
helping
people
with
that you're
your-
working with or
Okay.
people that you're involved with, people that you're doing things with, are going to bring the Sagittarian the opportunity to make more money.
So little projects that I'm hearing that we're getting together, this is the time that we kind of,
Yes, work
Assemble
together
a
as a
team.
group and
Yeah.
use other people's resources to advance your interests.
Oh, there you go.
That kind of a thing. That's cool. It's cool in that regard too. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I see the look on your face.
Well, because you guys know what you're talking about, and I'm sitting there going clueless. But I know it's going to be
Stuff
good.
going on.
Yeah, well, because it's in a feminine sign, women are going to help you do that.
Oh,
Again, she looks
hi.
over to the right and says, all right. For Capricorns, this is very challenging energy for Capricorns. This energy is in their 7th house of intimate one-to-one relationships, like marriage, partners, girlfriends, also open enemies. And Capricorns get to find out who is with them and who is against them.
And
And
the
the thing,
dramatic.
yeah, they really are. They need to know people that they think are their allies who aren't, and people who they think are enemies could actually end up being allies. And this eclipse over the next 2 weeks or so is going to make it very clear who is who's on your team and who's not on your team.
Oh, frenemy? Is there a frenemy out there, maybe?
Yeah, and I'm a much bigger fan of finding out the people that I think are my friends who aren't
Gotcha.
than finding people who are enemies that turn out to be kind of helpful to you. So, because it's the friend that smiles in your face and shoves a knife in yours. It's the friend that sleeps with your husband. It's never a stranger. It's
Are
always
rivals? Is this like a rival
yeah,
count?
yeah.
Okay,
Rivals.
gotcha.
Yeah. So, and it's been coming since January, and they didn't really know what to do about it. They weren't really sure. But over the next 2 weeks or so, they will find compelling evidence
Okay.
that will help them make that decision as who stays and who goes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Be a fly on the wall for them.
Yeah.
What's going on with them?
Exactly. For Aquarians, this energy is in the 6th house of work, health, and responsibilities. And for them, Aquarians everywhere are trying to modify their job, change their job a bit. It doesn't mean the corner office and it doesn't mean a big promotion. It means that some obstacle that has been in their way for career advancement gets out of their way. And I don't know whether they get vaporized or they get promoted out of there. I'm not sure what the reason is. But I know that at the end of this eclipse cycle, the Aquarian has a much better working environment. So it may be also that their work environment is evolving. And that would be like if another company bought your company and you're not sure whether you're going to stay or you're going to go. The Aquarian finds out that they get to stay and make more money while they're doing it.
Is there a chance they get enlightened of something that they could do to help themselves and make the job easier on themselves? Or
Just to be receptive to it. And Aquarians, as a rule, are. They really are receptive to new ideas and new things. It's just that they're afraid that they're not going to be brought into the new company, and they are. They are going to be brought in. That's my good news for them.
Okay.
If they've lived their life right. That's the other question.
You gotta do that.
Yeah, that's
right.
a big part of it too. For Pisces, they just want to have fun. Pisces, and Pisces is the long-suffering sign of the zodiac. I mean, Jesus was a Pisces, for God's sake, you know.
Can you give me a month on that one? Because I was...
Pisces runs from February 19th or so
Okay.
to March 19th. And the men always have beards, or they put on a rough, scraggly exterior so nobody knows what a soft touch they are. The women will wear sunglasses inside because, their eyes are
This is
delicate.
my dad. My dad is right in there, so...
I have a lot
by
of
the time-
Pisces.
Yeah. He likes to
Well, Pisces and Taurus get along really well, so you would know a bunch of them. This is the most favorable time for them. If they were ever going to find love, if they're ever going to find happiness, if they're ever going to find joy, they would find it over the next year or so because of these eclipses.
All right, so me and my dad are going to go with his metal detectors. We do this thing where we do some hand rolls, some bourbon, and we go look for stuff.
Oh, how
Metal
fun.
detectors.
There
Buried
you go.
treasure?
Yes.
You going to go to the beach and do it?
We've found 57 cents in the past 5 years.
Ooh.
There you go.
This could be it.
That could-
Actually,
Yeah.
does your dad have a girlfriend, or is he still married to your mom?
Yeah, ever seen Everyone Loves Raymond?
Yeah.
The really bitter couple that live together?
That's them? Okay. Well, then your dad has a good time with children or grandchildren. But it's a fun time for them. It's a very fun, very loving, very feel the love, feel the joy, feel the happiness.
Well,
Okay.
speaking of
Cool.
kids, how does this apply to? Because my son is a Pisces, so is this a good time that he's going to find a new sport, or
He will find something new to fall in love with. He will either be very happy in his school. He might, how old is he?
8 years old?
Okay, well, he's a little young for a girlfriend, but
Yes.
that doesn't mean there won't be a little girl hanging around.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, of course.
You know,
He's
he might be a
a
little
boy.
young for that.
Just get ready for it. It's coming sooner or later.
Oh, golly, yeah.
Calm yourself in there. Not today. Not today.
No, but it's a very creative time for him. So it could be a new sport, musical instrument, something that expresses his creativity.
Awesome.
Because Pisces are represented by a creature that has no vocal cords,
Uh-huh.
so they always have to find an alternate method to express themselves. You know, it's like George Harrison was a Pisces. You know, the kind of music in his soul, that kind of a thing. That's the best way for them to express how they feel. So it's a new, very creative time for them, and they're coming out of a fairly tough time. So it'd be nice to see them laugh and joke and smile and be happy again.
Definitely.
Would be a cool thing.
Awesome.
For Aries, it's about their home and it's about their foundations. They are modifying their home, remodeling their home. They're doing something with their home and their foundations. And they have to be careful not to bite off more than they can chew, not to try and do more than is humanly possible to do, and not to get into too much debt doing it. That's the kind of thing where you go, okay, I want to get a new stove, and they end up getting $8,000 worth of marble countertops to go with it. It's that kind of a thing that
Don't
just
get
gets.
it. Don't kind of go with the basic idea. Don't
Don't go
these.
crazy with
Okay.
that, and don't think you're going to get all that money back when you sell it, because you really won't. If you really want to get money back from a house, paint the outside, make the front look good.
There you go.
Honestly. For Taurus, as you ask, what about you? This is good for your day-to-day living, short distance, short duration travel. You learn something interesting, and I would not be surprised at all if somebody doesn't reach out to you and say, how happy are you where you're at? And you're going to go, I'm really happy where I'm at. And they're going to, well, think about us. It's that kind of a thing.
Really?
Yeah. Or it may be an additional other duty. Maybe something. Didn't you do something with the Bucks not too long ago?
Yeah.
Maybe something like that would pop up.
Okay.
You know what
That
she
kind
did
of a
do?
thing.
She designed a badass pair of short shorts and cutoff shirt for Deuce.
For
I said, "You're a
Deuce."
feature in this.
I
Somebody's
think
gonna
so.
call you.
Clothing?
That's right. My fashion.
Your
fashion.
fashion?
trend?
I think so. We
Yeah.
can sell some T-shirts at the very least.
Yeah. I like to.
It's
I like fashion.
but for something you'd been working on since January
Okay.
comes to be that makes your day-to-day living easier. Just
Okay.
easier. Just it's easier to do your job. It's easier to, and I imagine hiring more people here would help with that.
Right.
As already, but that's the thing that went into motion in January, but it's actually in effect now.
Get more
Okay.
smiles on AJ.
Yeah.
I like we need more smiles on AJ. She smiles a lot, but if her job was a little easier, maybe she'd smile even more.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Am
So,
I not smiling enough?
Just
No,
make it
it's really
easier
smile.
for
You
you.
know that
Appreciate it.
infectious smile right there. I mean, look.
yeah,
you.
just make it easier for you.
Okay.
And then for Geminis, it's about the money. And people, it's not about the money, it's always about the money. And for Geminis in particular, this eclipse gives them the opportunity to make more money through the fruits of their labor. This is not money falling out of the sky on them. This is not like, ooh, I won the lottery. This is a matter of hard work pays off, and you'll be able to make more money doing what it is that you do. So, and that's important because they've been struggling a little bit with that, and they're not used to being cut off from accustomed sources of income. So they get one of those sources of income back. It's a
What
good
is the
financial
month
thing.
on that again?
Gemini runs from May 22nd or so to June 21st.
Okay.
So if you know any Geminis, it's time for them to pick up the tab,
All right.
the way I look at it. So
it.
tomorrow's news today for the 12 signs of the zodiac with this eclipse. And again, this is the companion eclipse. The first one was last July. There were two more, one in the beginning of January, one in the middle of January. Then there are these two. There are two more in January, and then the last one is next summer.
And how
So-
they get a hold of you, Janet?
They can get me at stargoddess98rock.com is my webpage, and and Gmail is stargoddess98rock@gmail.com.
All right, there you go.
Always
Do
a
this
pleasure.
Once a week podcast here. Crash and AJ blog at 98rock.com. We'll see you next Monday.